All right, so here's a little bit of a follow-up to the Hollywood Studios visit that all the videos preceded from yesterday. I didn't do it yesterday because yesterday actually ended up being very hectic towards the end of the day. And I've got to say, it was an okay, it was actually a decent experience, but it ended on a very, very bad note. We finally made it onto Rise of the Resistance. Never had experienced that attraction before, and so the wait time was somewhere between 6 and 8 hours to get on, and we got our boarding pass at 7 a.m. and 10 seconds. So it really does fill up fast. We got boarding group 82. So we ended up getting finally onto Rise. And even when you get a boarding group, my expectation was that we would simply make it through the queue very quickly because we had a boarding group, and I felt as though it was kind of a reservation. But I think we're in line for a good hour. Made it through, and I'm not going to give any spoilers up because I was very surprised by the attraction. It is very anti Disney, and what else? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It was actually entertaining. But what I will say is that if you go on Rise, you're not going to get the experience of cast members of something like Small World or Peter Pan's Flight. It's a very, very different experience, very different. Disney shifted on this, and it was actually kind of refreshing. However, there was a huge problem. We were in a certain area, and I have a feeling, and I'm kind of a pessimist. I have a feeling that somebody pulled a prank, and we were quickly ushered out because the fire alarm went off. So we went through an 8-hour wait, and not that we were standing in line for 8 hours, but we had to wait 8 hours to get on to the attraction. We didn't make it actually onto the attraction. We were in a holding area. The fire alarm went off, and we were quickly ushered out. Now, there was no evidence of smoke, no evidence of fire. I really do think it was just some little kid who decided to ruin things for everybody. So we were ushered out of the park. Not of the park, of the attraction. So we went to guest relations, and they offered to give us a new boarding group whenever we decided to come back. We had to rush out of the park at that point because my wife had to get to the airport to fly out to a different state. We were planning on getting her cinnamon roll. We couldn't do that. So in the end, it was on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it, the entire visit, I would give an 8. And I know it's probably wrong to ding them 2 points for something that somebody else did, or maybe there was an electrical malfunction. Maybe the fire alarm went off on its own accidentally. The one thing that I didn't appreciate was that we were on our way out. We were outside of the show building, and one of the cast members yelled at my wife to put her phone away. And, honestly, if we're moving in an orderly fashion and my wife wants to take a picture, then I don't have a problem with that. Again, after all, it's my wife, right? So I'm going to defend her to the ends of the earth. But anyway, we made it out. People were complaining everywhere. And I think by every right, they had a right to complain because there's no way to get back on that attraction. It was 3:30 p.m. The park closed, I believe, at 9 p.m. I may be wrong. I'm not factual on that because I had to get my wife to the airport. But Tower of Terror was nice. Rock and Roller Coaster was nice. We did Toy Story Mania, which my wife absolutely beat the crap out of me in. I don't know how it happened. I mean, she actually does usually win, but she really hammered me this time in points. So overall, good experience. This is my dog's ball, and he's bothering me right now. Overall, good experience. Overall, bad experience with Rise, but I guess can't blame Disney for that, depending on whether it was electrical, whether it was a little kid pulling a fire alarm. But the humorous thing is that when the alarm went off, I thought it was part of the attraction. And I didn't realize until we were walking down a hallway and I noticed a fire alarm light mounted to the wall blinking that it actually was a fire alarm. But I'll tell you this. Is it worth it to wait 8 hours for an attraction? Maybe once. Maybe once. But would I do it over and over? We've waited for Flight of Passage a couple times. I think about 2 hours. But there's got to be some type of adjustment made here because it was a very good. We didn't get to see the attraction itself. We only got to see 2 different rooms of pre-shows. And again, I don't want to give any spoilers, but those pre-shows were absolutely excellent. The cast members were absolutely excellent. And I guess the biggest spoiler I'm going to give here is that the cast members in this attraction are more like actors than anything. And the scenery and backdrop and theming is excellent. I'm not a Star Wars fan. My wife is not a Star Wars fan. But I was very impressed by what we saw and what we got to experience. So we will be going back because we went to guest services and they told us we would get an immediate boarding group whenever we decided to come back to Hollywood Studios. I do want to experience the attraction. And I would like to experience the pre-show again, which is very odd because hate's a strong word. I very much dislike pre-shows. I cannot stand the pre-show at Flight of Passage. But these pre-shows were very, very immersive and entertaining. So that's about it. You'll see the other videos. I'm going to try to mesh them somehow on YouTube. I don't know. I've done it once, but I can't remember how I did it. But I would highly recommend experiencing this attraction once. You're going to have a very, very long day. We had to wake up at 6:45 a.m., log on to My Disney Experience, get our boarding pass at 7 a.m. exactly. I mean, I clicked join as soon as the clock ticked over to 7 a.m. and I wasn't able to get in. I had to click 3 more times and finally I got it. But it's definitely worth it. I would say once. And it's, like I said, a very long day. We got there at, I think we left here. We have an hour drive. I think we got there at maybe 10 a.m. and we did some attractions. We got lunch, which you'll see in a previous video that wasn't all that great. And then we did some more attractions, and then we waited on these stone walls outside of Rise of the Resistance before we could get in the queue and before we could get into the attraction itself. But again, very long day. I didn't get home after dropping my wife off at Orlando International until 7:30 p.m. So it was a 12-hour day. And then, as I said, I had to drop my wife off at the airport, and she had an even longer day because she had a 4-hour flight ahead of her. But I feel bad dinging Disney, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't ding them because that's beyond their control, and they enacted good safety measures. So anyway, I'm gonna go try to figure out how to format this on YouTube, and I will post again at some point. And I am out of here.